Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the May 4th, 2026 Wythe County Planning Commission meeting. And we have 5 members present. I could determine that we do have a quorum, and we're going to call it to order at this time. And we will start with our invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And at this time, we have citizens' time. Soon we have one person in the gallery, but I think that he's here for our item number 4, new business. So if anybody else wants to speak, I open the floor. If not, we'll go to the meeting minutes of the prior meeting. I've read it twice, last week and this morning. So,
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
it's been properly moved and seconded. Everybody move to approve, say aye. Aye. Nays likewise. The meetings of the April 6, 2026 Planning Commission meeting have been approved as presented. And our next item will be old business. Our first one is A, land use classification ordinance. Discuss our public forums.
So our next meeting will be May the 11th at George Wythe High School at 6 p.m.
I don't know how y'all feel about participation so far, but I think we've had right around 250 people. Had around 200, 220 at Fort Chiswell, at 26 at Rural Retreat, plus all the board members, almost all the planning commissioners, I think save one, have been at the meetings, and I appreciate your attendance. Hope your conversations are going well. I've had some interesting ones as we've gone through. If you've got recommendations or things that you think that need to go on our list of stuff that we're trying to keep, please share those with us. My email would be helpful if you don't mind. It helps us keep track of making sure that we meet the concerns that you have. But from a purely personal, purely public engagement standpoint, my personal opinion is this is one of the better public processes that I've been a part of, just because we do have people coming out and participating and asking questions. A lot of them are asking questions about how's it going to affect my property. I'm concerned with where I am on the map or how you've got me depicted. But if I couldn't tell you how many of these processes I've been through in my local government career, but I really like the way this one is going. We'll follow pretty much the same format on Monday night, and then I think you and the board will need to have some discussions about, what do the next ones look like? Do we, go to one of the schools and bring out a podium, let people come up and speak and express their opinions? A lot of people are doing that. We've had about 25 that have expressed some opinion or request some change through the county website. I would encourage people to do it that way and not with word of mouth or any other social media groups, just because we don't monitor all those. We don't see all of them. I'm sure there are some good suggestions floating around, but if they're floating around, they need to float to the county website and come in that way so that we can catalog them and address them as they come in.
The next meeting will be pretty much like the last two you had.
Follow the same format, just so we treat everybody the same way and get through this one, and then try to figure out what the that next one looks like.
Have, maybe people can ask questions on a public forum or something. Maybe you've answered a lot of questions, everybody, I hope so.
I feel like I've answered a lot. I'm sure I haven't answered all of them, but, well, and just looking back through, there are some things that do need to be addressed. There are some properties that, where, that maybe it's the only parcel zoned that way. We need to address that and get it zoned properly. Some questions about some wording or some state code references in the, in the body of the text. Just, a few things here and there. Probably the most consistent one, and you all probably have gotten this too, is that folks would like to see some of the more objectionable land uses, and I use objectionable, somebody has objection to it, not that most people will find it offensive or problematic, but data centers, solar farms, those sort of large developments that people are at least interested in, they want to have some say in how they develop. And I think, the way that we're approaching it of, letting folks know that zoning is the way to get involved in, making those land use decisions, I think is at least helping people understand what the process is, and that, yes, it does, provide another layer of the government being involved in our lives, but it is not nearly as intrusive as people initially believed it to be.
Well, Matt, I think you've done a tremendous job in your presentations. I thought your second one up at Rural Retreat was, you were used to it, was far more smoother than what you did down at Fort Chisholm. And of course, the more you do it, the better you get at things. But I thought, both of them been very informative. You kept the people engaged, and I've been very pleased with it.
I thank you for that. I was smart enough the second go around to ask for a podium. Managing the paper and trying to keep your notes in front of you, that was a little more difficult at Fort Chisholm, so.
I think they've gone very well, and you've done a beautiful job with it. And the second one where you had the FAQs, they really liked that because that answered more questions for them, and they could take it home with them. The biggest thing I've heard is, can we have some type of special use permit or special exception permit like you were talking about for the more major things that are coming in, data centers, solar farms, bigger businesses, so that there is a public hearing.
Brushed that up at Rural Retreat. You said you used special use permit, I think 2 times in your presentation.
Well, and I think, I can never tell you how the 7 people at the front of the room are going to vote, but if I had to guess, I would guess that the Board of Supervisors is going to tell me that they would prefer that those uses come in as either special use permits or not be mentioned, and just be handled as special uses or special exceptions whenever they do come up. That's just based on the feedback I've had so far. I do thank you all for your patience. I know it's boring to have to listen to me, say the same thing over and over, but as Mr. Bear reminded me during the budget session, I do live under the bus.
I just have one request. Make sure Mr. Castle's property is changed there, because I had a lengthy conversation, both meetings with him.
He was adamant about changing your property, though.
Yep.
I think he's come into the office a couple of times looking for me, and,
We've headed him off. We talked to him and, tried to explain to him that we have to wait for it to come back to us before we can make any changes.
Okay. It's a process.
Yes, and he understood at that time, and he just, we tried to explain it to him, as best that we could. He said he had expressed it to him at the Fort Chisholm, and it still wasn't changed, and I said, well, we can't change it yet. It's gotta come back to us before we can change it.
And I have expressed to Mr. Castle, he came to one of our board meetings, and I shook hands with him, talked to him at the Rural Retreat meeting, and said, if I had to guess, And that's what I'm doing. I would guess that the Board of Supervisors is going to say, yes, that should be agricultural, not commercial.
Yeah, because part of his, he showed me on the, I actually went and looked, and part of it's agricultural and part of it's commercial. It's whether, according to what side of the road it's on.
Well, that's on me. There are about 19,000 parcels. And I'd be surprised if I got them all right. We're trying to get them right as we finalize this, but they're not all right now.
Out of the 19,000 parcels, how many people have wanted theirs changed?
There's several, because G&G has some concerns on theirs too, and I know they're gonna be coming back to talk about that too.
Of the ones that I have talked to at the meetings, or the ones that have come in through the website, probably about a dozen.
Yeah.
Some of those are large landowners, some of them are individual parcels.
Any other discussion on the land use public forums? We'll go to the next item, the James Staley and Linda Brogdon variance request of last month's meeting.
So, you all had tabled this one. And this is the email that I got from Bradley Tate, that Mr. Belton came by the office and said that Staley has agreed to just keep his house lot as an existing 1.5 acre parcel instead of making it bigger to the 5 acre parcel. So therefore, they just did a boundary survey and didn't do a division. So they're just leaving it like it was. So their variance won't need to be, they don't need a variance.
So everything will stay the same.
It's just gonna stay the same. Yep. They decided just to leave it alone, and he'd sell him all the other lots and just keep his, because he was wanting, instead of 1.5 acres, just wanting to make it to 5 acres. So he's just gonna leave it as 1.5.
Yeah.
So nothing needs to be done with this, it's
It's done for.
just done.
Like I said, I read his letter from Mr. Tate saying, as I quote, "I'm still curious if you looked into the right-of-way research. I'd love to find more on that."
Yes.
That'll probably take quite a bit of digging.
That will take some digging. I did do some digging on it, and there's a plat that shows that there's a road there, but it doesn't say, I mean, it literally does not say anything, like right of way or nothing on that front parcel where the rights are, and what was the other guy's name? Armbruster, I think was his name. Yeah, it doesn't show, easement right of way. It just shows that it's a road. So, and
Shows it on the plat, but not recorded. It looked like that, right?
the plat's recorded, yes. But nothing, I didn't start digging through the deeds. I didn't get that far.
Yeah.
So I think your record is going to show that it's been withdrawn by the applicant,
Yes.
or by the applicant's representation.
Correct.
And our next item is new business. Item A, amendment to the prior meeting minutes, December 25 through March 26.
Yes.
Yeah, let's hear this.
I'm so sorry, Jesse. I accidentally left you off as others present.
I know.
And I caught it when I was putting in the last one. And I seen that I had left you off. I'm so sorry. I had what you was talking about down there. I just
Right.
forgot to put you as present.
I actually noticed that, but I was,
Please tell me.
Please kill you.
Huh?
Please kill you?
Please tell me.
Oh,
So we need to prove that.
If somebody would approve it, please.
I make a motion that we approve the amended minutes or corrected minutes for the last few months.
I'll second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the amended minutes from December through March. If everybody's in favor of approving them, say aye. Aye. Nays likewise. And our next item of business will be the Virginia Outdoors Foundation review proposed easement. And I know we have a representative here from the from the foundation. If you come up here and state your name, and we know where you're from, so.
Good evening. My name is Harry Hibbets with the Virginia Outdoors Foundation, working at our Stanton office.
Yep.
And-
I'm getting down here to it.
Oh, okay.
All right, here we go. All right. Proposed easement summary for Ernest C. Mustard IV in the Black Lick District in the Crawfish Valley. Lisa, do you staff want overview, please?
So Mr. Musser is wanting to, here's his parcel. Sorry, I'll get the map pulled up here. He's wanting to put this into the conservation easement. Of course, it's backed up against the national forest. And then they sent another map. This one. Make it a little bit better. So this is in, out on Tobler Road. You probably know a little bit more about it than I do.
I've never been there, but
Oh.
yeah, happy to talk about, the Virginia Outdoors Foundation in general and this particular project that the landowner is pursuing.
If you want to go ahead and
Sure.
tell us what all we got planned.
What he has planned?
Yes.
Okay. Well, he is on track to get on our board agenda for June, pending, I guess, any comments from the commission here. But what we do is we have about quarterly meetings, and we bring these projects to our board of trustees. And this particular project is, about 240 acres. And what the easement will do is limit the development potential on the property. So it will restrict any division of the property. It'll limit it to one house, and it also limits how much development in terms of footprint will be permitted on the entire property.
Lisa, could you show the area on the map, please?
This one?
Yeah. Do I have that? Okay.
I haven't personally been to that property, but on the next valley over, actually on the Crawfish Valley, that's about as isolated as you want to get.
I mean, if there was a war, that's where I would go first.
Right.
Nobody's gonna look for you then.
Right.
It is a little funny to read that the easement will limit the development potential. The location pretty well does that.
These conservation easements, are they permanent? Or
Yes,
can
sir.
they-
They're forever.
They can, okay.
Yep.
Once you commit, you're committed.
Yes, sir.
I guess there's tax incentives also.
Yes, sir. There can be. And so, those can be realized through the restrictions that are put on the property.
About how many acres is this?
This is about a little over 240.
Like 243.
Because I'm looking at that, it doesn't seem where we're sitting.
Yeah, 240.
It's right here, 243, 326 down here.
Okay, on the bottom, okay.
And for what it's worth, we've got about 75 easement projects in Wythe County already. The largest one is about 1,400 acres. And the smallest one's about 43 acres. And so we are the state's land trust, so we hold almost 4,000 easements in total, and we're closing in on 1 million acres in the state.
So you hear about the golden wing warbler?
Yes.
The
Yes.
So it's a protection on them as well as the waterways.
Yes, ma'am. Yep. We try to approach it in a couple ways of kind of broad restrictions across the entire property, and those will help with things like the golden wing warbler. And we'll have more targeted restrictions that are kind of buffers on the waterways that also limit development and timbering in those areas.
That's all pretty much timber?
It will, well, that I believe is currently all timber.
Would that landowner be allowed to timber anything, selected timber or something or not, or?
I brought a copy of the draft deed, and so if you don't mind, I might need to look at that a little bit. But I believe, yeah, it would allow timbering, provided they submit what's called a forest, or excuse me, a pre-harvest plan.
Sure.
And that they, we work with the Virginia Department of Forestry, and we require, all of our easements require that landowners use best management practices.
Sure.
They're not required outside of our easements, but they are required in our easements.
Now, can that property ever be sold? But it can be or can, and if it does, the easement stays with the property, correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
And not, but it can't be subdivided or anything like that?
Not this particular one.
Okay.
It can be taken out of the easement later on, but there are a lot of complicated steps to do
That's what I was
that.
curious about, how complicated that would be. If it's like a family member, he's kind of, ended up with it, and they really didn't want to participate in that. Would that cause an issue for the family down the road?
Basically, you have to replace it with at least as much, or is it twice as much? I mean, there's a lot of acreage that gets involved in when you have a large parcel like this.
Yes, and so there's a process for kind of unknowns that may arise, and so all of our enabling act is the Open Space Land Act, and within that act is a section related to conversion and diversion. So if a new road or something becomes essential and there's no other option, it could potentially go through any of our easements, but we'd have to replace, or the developer would have to replace that land with substitute land. And then also to extinguish it, it would require the judicial proceedings for that.
Because when they do this, they did some state tax credits that have to be paid back, I'm sure.
I've never gone through one of those,
I
but
would-
yeah,
I would-
yeah.
I would think,
Yeah.
just guessing. I mean, they were given these tax credits, they would take them back, that's what I would think.
Yeah, I read it in the harvest plan for trees that need to be cut, just like on my property. We cut timber in 95, and the poplars, anything smaller than 16 inches, 4 foot above the ground, were left. And we cut them 2 years ago, and those poplars are starting to rot off along where it comes up. They were that big around in 25 years, and they need to be cut. So even the forest needs management. So.
Yeah.
Any questions for the Virginia Foundation? I appreciate your time, but I got an unrelated question, since you said you're from Augusta County.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Well,
It's not bad. My wife goes to quarterly appointments at UVA, so I'm familiar going up and hit 64. Tell me what's going on. I stopped at Fishersville and got gas. It was 50 cents cheaper than anywhere else in the state.
That's the place to go, for sure.
Yeah, I was there on April 13th, and the gas was $3.53.9, and
Oh, my.
and at Rafine it was $3.84.
I don't know if it's that anymore. I check the apps to see where it's the cheapest.
I was just curious,
Yeah.
since you're up in that area. They just got a gas war
No,
going on
but-
at that exit.
Yeah, you don't want to go over the mountain to get gas.
Yeah, Waynesboro was $3.83. So I was just since you're up there, I just thought, just had that question.
Absolutely.
I wish we had that problem down here. If any other questions for the Virginia Foundation? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
If you're driving back tonight, have a safe trip up 81.
I'm staying the night.
That's, early in the morning's the best time to go up 81. Like I said, when I leave here, I can be in Charlottesville in a little less than 3 hours. On the way back, it takes 4 hours in the afternoons.
So the question would be, is this in compliance with the comprehensive plan?
Yes, I think so.
I think so.
Yes. We need a motion to approve this.
Yes, please.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Everyone in favor, say aye. Aye. The nays likewise. It's been approved by the Planning Commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all.
And our next item of business will be a subdivision ordinance report from Lisa. Can fill us in.
Okay. So the first one is John and Linda Hager. They have created through a minor subdivision a new lot on Peppers Ferry Road, a 42.868 acre parcel, part of tax map and parcel number 2929A. The new parcel is an agricultural lot and its creation leaves 88.571 acres in the parent parcel. New parcel A will have private water and private sewer, and the residual parcel 4 can use public water and sewer. Both will continue to be utilized for agricultural purposes. The Planning Commission at its April 6, 2026 meeting granted a variance to section 5.3.18 of the ordinance in order to allow this division because the 42.848 acres does not have adequate road frontage, and this plat was recorded April the 9th.
And they got rid of all those little tiny lots down there along the Purpose Ferry Road and the railroad.
They cleaned it up a lot.
They got rid of some of their 19,000 lots in there for you, right?
That was helpful. Now, if they could have gone to Canucks Meadows and cleaned up a few of those lot lines, that would have been appreciated.
There's several of those smaller lots down Austinville and Ivanhoe and here, and I just didn't understand all those little tiny lots. Done years ago. And our next one will be Mr. and Mrs. Jonas.
Michael and Lisa Jonas recently conveyed .325 acres to their adjoining owner, Evan Gray Repass, making the residual parcel 3.155 acres. Simultaneously, Mr. Repass, through a lot line revision, combined the new parcel of .325 acres with his property of 3.341 acres, making the new parcel 3.666 acres. This subdivision leaves a 3.155 acre residual that will be used as residential, and the new parcel of 3.666 will be used as residential. Both parcels are being served by private water and private sewer, and this plat was recorded April 9th.
And that leaves our next item, our coming events. So the Board of Supervisors on May 12th and May 26th at 6 p.m. And the Planning Commission on June 1st at 6 p.m. And our Memorial Day holiday and our June holiday and the other committees. Any questions on the calendar? And it leaves our next items, our county engineer report, and
He's out tonight.
I guess we won't have one of those this month. And our next item, our ex officio report from Mr. Burnett.
So we've been working on our budget. And last few years, we've always started with a little bit of a deficit and we balanced the budget. And last year, we balanced the budget. This year's a little trickier, but we still are on track to have a balanced budget without increasing taxes or other unpleasant items. So we're still working through that. We're getting ready to advertise that at the end of the month. I have been pleased with some of the zoning conversations we've been having. Some of the feedback, I still have a lot of people in the lead mines district that do not like the idea of zoning. One of the things I'd really like to see is more constructive feedback from our residents to try to help us, because that's what this is about. This is, some of the feedback I get is there either a yes or a no without any constructive, thinking or looking at it and seeing this is good, this is bad, or this is bad, and this is good, to give us a helping hand. And so I encourage people when they reach out to me to say, hey, look, this is, this ain't going in this very second. We need to work on this. We need input. This is your time to provide input. And so I've only had 2 people say they wished it was more of a town hall type event where we sit there and they come up and talk to us. I don't know if that would be better than what we're doing now, because now they have an opportunity to come work with us one-on-one and go from person to person to get various thoughts from each supervisor versus, if we did a town hall type event, you might only get 3 minutes and then the next person would have to come up and the next, and so I think this is a more open forum for, because there's times I spend 10 or 15 minutes talking to somebody. So that, and we're, we're getting some good feedback. I don't know how much is coming through on the internet. Matt might be able to tell us more on that. But other than that, I do enjoy seeing the residents come out and be engaged. And then I've had several people talk, and I just like to talk about it, is VDOT still doesn't adopt a highway. If you clean the organization gets together, so if you know of any churches or organizations, and just toss them out and say, hey, VDOT still does it. They have, they have a contact on their webpage. Contact them. You clean a section of road twice a year for 3 years, they'll make you a sign. So that's about all I have. If y'all have any questions.
What about the cannery update?
As far as I know, it's still on track to be done by the end of the month, first of next month. We're still looking for a location. We would still support building a new location. And that cannery is used a lot, and we certainly understand the need for it. And I've told people, I've got a lady that calls me. She's not even in my district. She's from over in the Black Lick district, and she calls me about every 2 weeks asking me about it. And I just tell Mr. Martin that I send him a bill for my services.
Mr. Burnett, would you like for me to talk about the congressionally directed spending request that we put in for that?
Yes, please.
So Congressman Griffith and Senators Warner and Kane both run a process requesting for localities to request federal assistance on some of these projects. And so we've put in a couple of requests, fairly significant requests for federal help. One is for the Lots Gap water tank. That we were going to build that as part of the Blue Star projects. We've got about $1.2 million worth of pipe sitting on the ground up by the arena. We'd like to get that in the ground until we have our tank commitment, and it's about a $6 or $7 million project to build that water tank up there. It doesn't make a lot of sense to try to get that pipe in the ground. So we've put in a request for both Congressman Griffith and for the two senators who run their request concurrently to fund that. We requested $5 million. If we get 3, we can probably go forward with the project with the partnership that we have with the town of Wytheville. That would give us considerably more storage capacity than we have now in our reservoirs, and would give us some resiliency and sustainability if we were to have another hurricane. We'd have that extra storage, which could buy us some time if we needed to get extra generators or that sort of thing in. The other request is funding for the cannery. This would be for a new location, moving it out of the school property, which the schools have asked for. We sort of had to throw it together. So what we did is we put it on county-owned property there on Stony Fork Road going out of town on the edge of the Fairview Business Park. And what we did is we did a fairly quick design that would give us a cannery, a commercial kitchen, and new offices for the extension folks. Move them out of the old house that they're in there at the corner of Fairview and Umbarger, and move them into a new facility, maybe get some help, doing some programming from them so they could, help oversee the commercial kitchen. We hear that there's some demand for that, along with managing the cannery, so we'd be able to get some updated equipment and get a cannery operating there. There's no guarantee that's going to happen. It just depends on the federal funds. If the federal folks come through with it, great. If not, we made our best swing at it, but we are actively trying to put together something that's new and innovative, and it can last for the next few generations. So I'm not sure that we'd fully briefed the board on that. I think we touched on it, but usually we don't give you more details than you want. So
If you get that deal, would you take the one from the high school out of there or not?
we would take some of the equipment out of there. It would no longer operate as a cannery on the school site. The schools really would prefer not to have folks coming onto school grounds, especially while school events are happening. This would move the cannery entirely. So there might be some operational costs that we would have to undertake to help keep that open. But hopefully by co-locating with the extension folks, we'd be able to minimize those extra costs.
Because the food source people, they would need something there to do some things, I would think. It's in the
Yeah, so we wanted to do a commercial kitchen because that's one of the things that we hear, that there's some demand for that. I know the Wytheville Farmers Market is trying to do that. It does make some sense if you have, enough demand in the community, whether it's one-time catering or, ongoing operations for, maybe a small business to do a startup. There are some other things that could be used for as well.
Actually, a commercial kitchen, like for people at the farmer's market who want to process food and sell it, that could be a lucrative income stream for the county.
And it could help, some farmers, some produce providers to be able to, if they can do canning, they can do food prep, they can do catering out of one facility. It does make some sense. I expect that we would see a lot of demand, especially up front. Sorry, Mr. Burnett, didn't mean to jump in on your time.
Well, that's all right. That gave me a chance to ask you a question before anybody else does. Do we have a broadband update?
Yes. If you don't mind me pulling up the email. I sat in on a call with the broadband folks. We do a once a month project update. So they've got to be done with the bulk of this project by the end of June. And they say they are on target to do that. So Citizens has been working in several areas. The most recent one, so they finished Van Loo, Loafer's Rest, and Sandy Lane, April 17th. Ricky Road, they finished April the 24th. They were expecting to finish Dry Pond and Connor Valley last week. I haven't heard for sure that they did, but that they were trying to get that one done. Topaz to Reed Creek and Reed Creek Drive, Oak Hill Lane, Fox Lane, they are in process. They've had a couple of easement issues pop up though, so they're trying to get their easements done. They're burying their cable, not attaching to poles, so that's complicated some of their easements. Major Grams Road from Topaz to the bridge, they're expecting to be done by May 15th. Greenbrier Road, they started March 23rd. Fox Mountain Road, they started April 13th. Apache Run started April 20th. Locust Hill started the 27th last week. They were also starting Grouse Ridge Road and Peppers Ferry Road from Max Meadows to the intersection of Grouse Ridge all last week. So they are trying to wrap up the eastern end of the county. They have been asking, they would very much like to get folks knowledgeable that they have service available in the eastern end of the county now. One of the last areas to be served is going to be Miller's Creek. It's just going to take a long run to do that, so they're trying to get a lot of the other areas done so they can move their contractors on to doing those longer runs at Miller's Creek.
Now, would that be the Point Broadband or the other company would do?
This will be Citizens. So Point Broadband abandoned that part to Citizens as part of this transition.
That road won't be very nice to them.
It won't be.
Because it floods a lot.
It does.
Washes out.
And when you're burying cable, that has to be one of your first concerns.
Yes, sir.
As I believe they do direct bury. I don't think they do conduit bury. So, yeah, that's one of the things. If it washes out, you'll see those lines exposed.
Yeah, I'm sure of that. Yeah.
I noticed they've been going out Old School Road.
I believe they're through. I think I had an earlier
Yeah,
update on that.
Going past Mount Zion Church on out Old School Road.
So they have completed construction on Old School Road, Foxden Road, Harmon Road, and Marble Road. That's the only thing I see different here from the one that came in after that. Now, there will be some customers that they are not able to reach in this project, but the federal money, the BEAD project, they were awarded some additional funds in that. So they are going to go back and get some of those customers. Some of the customers that now are only going to be served by coax lines, they will be able to come back in and do fiber lines to bring some of those customers up to the higher speeds. The download speeds on coax are fine. The upload speeds are, I think, limited usually to 25 megabits. So if you're doing it for business purposes, it may not be as good as fiber, but yeah, they feel confident they're going to be able to meet their time targets and their deadlines to do this. If they do any work after June, they're not going to get paid, so they want to get paid. So they have laid on extra contractors and brought in as many pieces of equipment as they feel like they can keep running to get done with the project on time.
Is Point Broadband, are they doing any work in the county, or they've stopped?
Point Broadband has stopped any work, I think, just unless they're hooking new customers up that hadn't hooked up to the system before. Brightspeed is doing some fiber work in different communities because we've been getting a lot of complaints about their contractors going through flower beds and driveways and pastures and that sort of thing. So not sure exactly where they were working. I know they were in the Black Lake District doing some, and I think in the Speedwell District doing some, but haven't heard any complaints for about 3 weeks. So I don't know if they've stopped or if they're managing their crews a little bit.
Yeah, that's where I've heard the complaints, where Point Broadband stopped down on Old School Road, and of course, I have a bunch of kin people that live down there, and I get to hear it. They got high-speed internet, and I don't. But
Well, I think there is a price difference between the providers. So Point Broadband is your better value. They're providing fast speeds at pretty good prices. Citizens is providing fast internet. Their prices are a little higher. They're a little smaller company than Point Broadband is.
I haven't heard anybody complain about the price because they want to be able to stream their shows.
Well, and if you compare their pricing to what people have been paying to Brightspeed, it's generally lower. So most folks are saving money. It's just some are saving more
Oh,
than others.
I'm paying the same price for 500 megabytes than what I was paying for 1.5 DSL under Brightspeed.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to complain.
Yeah, I got an email today from Point Broadband, said they are joining forces with Clearwave Fiber, so they're merging with another company.
Well, and if you go back to when they were the Bristol, Virginia Utilities Board and then Optinet and then Horizon, they have a history of either being bought out or merging or acquiring every 3 or 4 years. So this is pretty much on target.
Which one was it? The old Embark?
That's
That's
Brightspeed.
Brightspeed.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
'Cause they used to be hearing.
Brightspeed,
what was it,
CenturyLink,
United
Embark.
Intermountain Telephone.
United Intermountain Telephone.
Old school there, yes, sir.
Well,
And Sprint.
Was it ever Lee Telephone here?
What's that?
Was it ever Lee Telephone here?
I don't think so.
United Intermountain Telephone, then
Yeah.
it was Sprint,
Sprint,
then it was Embark,
Embark.
then CenturyLink, and now Brightspeed.
CenturyLink. I forgot about CenturyLink.
Yeah, no more in our lifetime, about five changes, but
How many customers did Citizens add on the eastern part roughly, or what potential?
They've got potential for about 8,000 if everybody were to hook on. Like I say, the people hooking onto their system has been kind of slow, at least slower than they expected. During COVID, I was getting 3, 4, 5 calls a day at a minimum. When am I going to get broadband? And some of those folks that I've provided their information to, Citizens, they either went to Starlink or they've moved or, they decided they were happy with what they had. Now, we do have one area that is still of concern, and Mr. Burnt, you may get calls about this one. It's Bertha Farms. Since it's a private road, they've been having trouble getting some easements through properties. I provided them with the petition. Lisa gave it to me, the petition for people who signed on wanting the revenue sharing project for their road. So I've provided that so they can at least get a hold of some of those folks a little easier. So hopefully that'll streamline their processes and get that further back in there. If they don't get served in this one, they may be able to be served through the BEAD project, but it'll take longer for the fiber to get out to them. I think that's all I had for you on broadband, unless you had questions.
No, that was all I had. But it did give me an opportunity to remember something else. We did approve our 6-year plan for VDOT's, looking at, and I don't know if y'all are familiar how that works, but VDOT tells us about how much money the state's giving them, and they dole it out to each county. And then we have a list of roads and how much each road would cost. And we look at it and match the roads up with need and how important they are and how many citizens is on it, and match it up with how much money. And then and so I've been very fortunate that I've put a road on every year I've been on the board, somewhere in the lead mines district. But pretty much east and west Wytheville don't have that problem, but all the other, so there's 5 of us vying for a small pool of money. And sometimes people are a little upset about it because we can't move fast enough, or they find out the 6-year plan's truly a 6-year plan, and whatever we're adding this year will be 6 years out. VDOT is so far been really good at staying to the schedule. And so if it is if it says 6 years from now, they'll be starting on it in 6 years, so. And other than that, I have nothing else.
Now it's time for our Deputy County Administrator report.
I don't have a lot. Do apologize for missing your last meeting. I was in Ohio on vacation. One big project that I've been working on for the last 3 years is codification. So if you go to our ordinances now on the website, you'll see it's just a collection of PDFs. There's some structure, but it's not well organized. So we have a new code that's coming in. The board has set a public hearing for May the 26th to adopt this code, and all it is a structured way to look through our ordinances to see what local law is. So that'll be available as a printed copy here, and it'll be available on the website. Most of you have seen Municode for some municipal code, either for cities or counties or towns. I know that typically gets mentioned in the certification classes at some point. This will join us into the Municode library, and anytime we make changes to the code, they'll update our code, both the printed version and the online version. So it'll be a whole lot easier for folks to search our code. It's been about a 3-year project. Me, Martha Collins, and Leanne Nestor in the county administrator's office have all spent a lot of time on it. We're pretty proud of it, and we're glad to be close to the finish line. Do want to mention for emergency services, our 911 center, we are 2 people away from being fully staffed in 911, and that's as close as we've gotten in a very long time. But they have a new tool. We have replaced our computer-assisted dispatching system. We went away from the Motorola system and went with Southern Software. Southern Software handles all of the counties and cities in Southwest Virginia except for the city of Norton, Bland County, and Pulaski County. And Bland and Pulaski are on a grant with us to upgrade theirs and get their new computer-assisted dispatching. So hopefully callers notice shorter response times. In the old Spillman setup, we had, I believe, 420 or 425 different call types, and that's a lot for a dispatcher to have to go through when you're in an emergency. With the new one, we're down to about 110, so it really simplified the process for our dispatchers and should speed things up as we go along. So happy to have that. That was a big investment for the county, but we were able to get grant funding to cover most of the cost for us. And just did want to remind everybody, we are still in a outdoor burn ban. It's dry. Even with the little rain we got over the last couple of weeks, it's still too dry. I'm sure the agricultural community is starting to worry about what the rest of the year is going to look like. The state is.
I've kept records for 35, 40 years. The last 3 years for April was real close to the same, about 1.20 inches or 1.25 inches. But now, historically for May, it's been over 7 inches for the last 3 years. So we'll see how this May does.
Yeah, I think we're at about a 10 or 11 inch precipitation deficit at this point.
We've been dry since August. We had 6 or 7 inches up till July, and then we've been dry. No hurricane to come through, so we've been dry.
Yeah, we needed a breather from a hurricane, but we also needed the precipitation, so, we're.
When the rains come across the country, we don't get it. It's gotta go down to Texas, come up the Appalachian Mountains for us to get very good rain. It's not doing that.
Yep. So we have put that burn ban in just to try to help control, because we're still getting brush fires, some random and some.
I think the end of April, the Virginia forestry ban went off. I think
It did. It ends April 30th.
yeah. But see, the county can still enact a burn ban. I think that's good.
Well, we're not by ourselves. A lot of counties in central and southwest Virginia are in burn bans just because of the likelihood that we're going to have a major problem if we don't. And did want to remind everybody about Liberty at the Lake. We are doing a 3-day festival, July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're going to have live bands. We're going to have activities for the kids. I think there's a movie or two. The pool will be open, and most importantly, we're going to have fireworks. The county set aside $50,000 to do that, and we've had about $9,000 in other sponsorships or donations brought in at this point. So it'll be about a 20-minute fireworks show. Hopefully by then we'll be out of any burn ban issues. But I think a bunch of us are going to be up there on fire trucks, just making sure that we can put off the show and be prepared to fight something if it does happen. So the campground at the Rural Retreat Lake opened this past weekend, and the pool opens May the 15th. We've got the heater in it now, so hopefully we'll be able to get some swimmers up there. We're almost at staff where we need to be on our staffing levels for that. Other than that, I don't have a whole lot unless you all have questions for me.
I guess I've got to ask this because I was told to ask it. Any update on the data center down at Progress Park? Land clearing or anything of that nature?
Last I heard, and that was late last week, last time I talked to Johnny, I think was Friday morning. I think they were still waiting on DEQ approval for their erosion and sediment control and their stormwater plan.
Okay.
That's the last I heard. No, yeah.
I've done my dope. Camera. Thank you.
With
Stop that.
I'll stop there. Yes, sir. Thank you for the advice.
Any update on the crosswalk at Fort Chisholm?
I believe they're still planning on construction next year. The speed camera enforcement, the General Assembly, starting July 1st, restricted how localities can use that. And so one of the acceptable uses is, sorry, I'm also doing emergency management this week.
You take that now.
It's a page for a rec. We have a wreck tractor trailer out toward Max Meadows. So if y'all are going that way, be careful. So you're gonna have to remind me where I was.
About the crosswalk and the money.
Camera.
So it's about a $2.2 million project, and the sheriff will be able to fund part of that. The local share is approaching, I think, $500,000. So, some of the speeders going through from Michigan and Ohio will help us make traffic there safer around the high school.
They catch a bunch out that one.
Yeah. So the speed cameras this year will probably bring in about $4 million. That's at $100 a pop. So, and that's only for the ones that are going 12 miles an hour or faster over the speed limit. And
Is that just the school zones, or is that included?
it's school and construction, and construction zones. That's really where you're
I
going to
was
hit.
wondering.
Construction zones.
Yeah, construction zone, that's a good one.
Well, and we're not doing it, for the money. The contractors who are doing the work are begging the localities to do this because it does slow a lot of people down. The ones it doesn't slow down, we're glad to take their money. But if it makes the work zone safer and it makes it safer for the kids in the school zones, that's what we ought to be doing. And it has reduced the school zone speeding by around 95%.
I know some of them, whenever one person was caught 6 times at Fort Chisholm before they got their bill. And one of them was this guy's wife, and he worked for the county or something. He said, make my wife pay for him, because I wasn't paying.
Bus drivers to get them.
And some of them go through tremendously fast in those school zones. I know some of them, I know one of them at Fort Chiswell, they caught somebody with a thing, was 30 miles over the speed limit. And, that was my friend John, whatever, was in charge of that, and he said, he talked 20 minutes to the guy that got caught doing that. He goes, well, I'm not paying tickets. He said, that's fine.
I always
He
thought it was
said-
too fast down there anyway, because it's 45 outside of school
He said,
time.
that's fine. He says, but if I send my deputy and he catch you doing 30 miles over the speed limit, you're gonna have a lot of talk to the judge. He said, that's what's gonna happen. He says, it won't be no $100 fine. He said, it's gonna go and get licensed now.
Well, you figure 35, that's what?
It was tremendous what this person went through in a school zone.
75 mile an hour?
Yes, 30 miles over speed limit.
If it was 45, now if it was the other, it wouldn't have been that fast.
You
See,
know,
you got
that's dangerous.
Brewery Tree, Jackson, Fort Chiswell, and Sheffy are the only ones that have the cameras, I believe.
Speedwell.
I'm not sure
What, Speedwell?
I'm not sure the Chevy does.
Yeah, Sheffy's got it.
Sheffy does, they're in the
Okay.
corner.
Yeah, you catch it right on the corner. It got you coming from Ivanhoe, and it gets you coming from over at 94 coming in.
Okay.
I didn't know they'd put it in there, and I had to slow down real quick.
You get the $100
No, I didn't get nothing.
I wrote the contract and I didn't know they'd put it in there.
We'll
I
add
just, but,
on the
go ahead.
cameras, that on the interstate, we are aware that that's possibly only a 2 more year funding stream coming in. And then that job will be done and there won't be no more, unless VDOT does another big construction job, you know, so we don't wanna, we wanna make sure that that money goes to capital projects that's fully you know, we don't wanna burden it with any yearly obligations.
but I do know just a couple times that I'm down going that way and going down 94 from my house down to the stoplight and during school when the kids are getting out of school and they're hungry and they want to go across the street to Food Country and Subway and watching them run across the road, running at angles, running everywhere. And
Good. They're good.
Anything with the connector road off of 9 to the cross Lover's Lane and exit 41, any of that completion dates or anything on those?
I believe it's supposed to be done next year. I do know that they're working on it, but I haven't been out actually on it. The closest I've been is crossing over there at Lover's Lane, going where I'm not supposed to.
There are big trucks right there. We're running you over now.
Have
And
you ever seen anything what they call flock cameras? Have you heard of flock cameras? There is a camera over on 94. Is VDOT?
we have them here.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, because I noticed a couple throughout the county, you know, one over on 94 right below Silent Church going towards Avenue. I've seen one sitting there. Can't remember exactly what the other one said, but I've seen at least 2 in the county. I just wondered if it, you know, that was a big thing in these big cities, it's the flock cameras. I was just curious if we'd really,
What do they do?
the same thing as just a regular camera. They just, they're just putting them throughout the road system to kind of monitor the traffic. That's what they are.
And they do report some crime data. So if somebody, you know,
Speed.
robs a bank or you're looking for a wanted subject, it can pull up those license plates and give you a hit. It notifies our dispatch center. If you've got a lost singer, you've got a silver alert, somebody, you know, you're looking for a particular car, and I believe that was the first thing that we got with ours. They were put in when Sheriff Foster was still sheriff, and I believe that was the first call that he told me that they were able to successfully recover somebody through a silver alert by getting that flock hit.
What about where they're doing like the drone surveillance on the interstate now and writing tickets with the drones? Because I think they started in Shenandoah Valley, but
Wow,
they're looking to
hadn't
do
heard
that.
that.
They haven't told us that they're going to expand that program here yet. I don't know if that's, you know, going to expand statewide or if they're just trying it, you know, up there. But I'm grateful that they're testing it out up there and not down here.
That's right here.
Probably like the airplane experiment they
Yeah.
did.
Oh, I have a drone show every week because of solar farm. It comes through every week.
Well, what about the lights you've been shining?
They're still there, Johnny's.
Hey, what'd I tell you?
They're still there.
Target practice.
What'd I tell you?
Listen, I was up close and personal the other day because of Cal and the water.
No, I know Johnny's checked in on it. He's told me.
He said the guy was supposed to have notified him last week about coming down, whoever the new one is, and he never contacted him, so. I still haven't.
You see where he's at tonight, don't you?
Yeah.
Right here.
So between the drone show and the lights, there is no privacy at all anymore.
What's yard?
And just for Susan and Jesse, the call is at the 25.5 on the southbound side, so
So it's a complicated.
it's a turned over tractor trailer. Traffic's still flowing, but there's a wreck down there somewhere on that end of the bridge.
I noticed the Saturday before last, I was in town, I seen the big smoke screen over the whole valley. I guess that was a major, what alarm fire was that at Bob Evans?
Yeah, apparently the CBD THC shop had been out of there for a while. As it was put to me, some homeless had set up inside and essentially had their own little apartments going in there. So not sure exactly how the fire started, but it pretty well wrecked the whole structure. So
Nobody got hurt.
not that we're aware of.
That's-
I wasn't on that call, but I was told it did burn pretty hot. We got mutual aid from the Marion Fire Department. They brought their ladder truck up to go with the ladder truck that the county and town jointly own. And yeah, it still took a while to hose it down and cool it off.
It's an old building.
Been out 30 years, reckon this
Well, it used to be Harry Johnson's.
Maybe they'll put us in a steakhouse.
It was, someone on Facebook put the
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, yeah, there we go, yeah. That Heidi or somebody want that one.
Do we have any commissioner concerns? If not, I would entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to end the May 4th Planning Commission meeting. Everybody will say aye. Aye. Nays likewise. This meeting is concluded.